Back to my channel. I am here just sitting down talking to you guys, kind of going back a few months, kind of explaining a little bit about boot camp and what happened there. So I kind of wanted to, I'm gonna do like a series video because I know that boot camp can be like very long, so I'm gonna do a part 1, part 2, and then I'm gonna talk, and then after that I'm done with that, I'm gonna talk a little bit about my overall Army experience and also my overall OCS experience. OCS experience coming from the fact that, I was on the state side, not the federal side. So come here, Stitch. Oh, and I got a puppy, in case you didn't know. Come here. Come here. He's being shy. Come here. Oh, you go boy. Come here. Talk to the world. So, basically, let's start with, let's start the day of. So I went to MEPS, and that morning I just remembered that I was very nervous and just very sleepy because I literally had to wake up so early and go to MEPS, and I remember going there, and they do weigh you, they drug test you, for females, they make sure you're not pregnant. So there's a lot of waiting around in the morning, and then but it's a fast process because they want to get you out of there on time. So MEPS wasn't so bad the day that I left. Every other time I went to MEPS was a nightmare, and I would hate for anyone to go through that again. So there's that. And then I want to kind of speed things up and not drag this whole story out too much, but I thought we were going to go in the big charter buses. By the way, he's like literally on my lap right now, like just laying. He's such a baby. But I thought I was going to go on the big charter buses. Turns out I went in a van that fits like max 8 people, and there was like 4 people that were going to Fort Jackson. So there weren't a lot of people going to Fort Jackson. It was a very fun car ride. We had the best driver because he had like really good taste in music, and he would put like all kinds of music. So it was a really fun time. I didn't get to sleep, even though I really should have slept. I didn't sleep. I couldn't sleep. I was just thinking so much about what was gonna happen at boot camp, just thinking about everything, honestly, just overthinking a lot. And I was there with other people. Most of them were a little, so there was only 4 of us in total, and one girl was around my age. She was like a year older than me. Her name was, we call her Clear because we go by last name. So she was Clear, and me and her immediately like became friends. And then we arrived. I will never forget when we arrived because it was 10 p.m. at night, and I'm like, oh, that's when it kind of hit me that like I'm in this, like I'm not getting out. Honestly, looking back, I'm like, I can't believe I went through all that. Like I can't believe I went through all that. So I remember getting there at like 10 p.m. There was like there was like no one there, and we got out the car, and it was really chill. Like it was definitely not what I expected it to be. Got off the car, took a line. This woman came out. She was basically just checking our names off, making sure we were all there. And then we went into a classroom. We were there for like 2 hours talking to these COVID Bay guys that were there because they had COVID, so they were separated from everyone else. And they actually really I'm really happy that we got the opportunity, my group, to chat with them one-on-one without any drill sergeants there, without any cadre. Like, no one was there. It was just us, and they were just telling us, you know, basic training is not that bad. You just have to get through it. Don't get COVID, because that's literally the worst thing you can do. COVID, if you get COVID, at least when I went, I don't know if that's still the case, but if you get COVID during basic training, it just delays you so much, and then you get stuck at COVID Bay, which I've heard nothing but horror stories about. But of course, if you do get stuck in COVID Bay, just stay strong. You're gonna get through it. So then after that, a whole bunch of other people came through. And then around 3 a.m., I think the whole classroom was full of people. So they basically just gave us snacks and like talked to us and like gave us PowerPoint presentations. It was really chill. I really didn't think it was gonna be like that. But you know, this is reception, so it's a little bit more chill. So so then we went, once it was real, like the first day I was there, we didn't sleep at all. Like, we didn't sleep until the next day. So I was awake for like 36 hours. We literally did so many things that day. Like, we just went from one thing to the other in one night. I think they're just trying to be really productive and go through things really fast. So yeah, I didn't get to sleep until like 8 p.m. the next day. And then of course, as soon as you get there, you get fire guard duty. So we got fire guard. I mean, like, the first 3 days I was there, it was honestly like really chill. It was so chill, just because no one's really screaming at you yet. I mean, yeah, they're screaming, but really it's just, all they're trying to do is get you out of there. So all you have to do is pay attention and listen to what they say, and you're literally good to go. So my advice to you, if you're going to reception soon, is just pay attention to what they say to you, because, sorry, I'm trying to make him more comfortable. Is this more comfortable? Is it more comfortable? All right, so just literally pay attention to what they're saying, because if you miss something that is a requirement to leave reception, you're probably gonna get stuck there for another week. So that's my best advice for that. And then I remember when we were done with reception, we got separated in 2 buses, and the drill sergeants picked you up and they took you there. And I will never forget this, because it's like, to me, it's like the moment of where I was kind of not losing it, but I was definitely like, oh my god, this is where it's gonna get real. Because so far reception was so chill, and I was just like, I hope this is how basic training is. So we got in the car, and then like it was a 5 or 10 minute drive to boot camp. And this is literally like, I don't know, this talking about it is like bringing me back. But I remember sitting in the car, in the bus, and I was just thinking like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this. You think a lot. You think about it a lot. And then we finally get there, and literally the first hour you're there is just, it's brutal. I will say the first hour you're there is brutal, and then the second hour is a little bit better. It's just brutal. Like, you do all these things, you're running all over the freaking place, people are yelling at you, and you're literally like, your energy, like all the energy you had in you is gone by the end of like 2 hours. This one woman, she fainted and had a whole seizure during this 2-hour period. And I mean, this was traumatizing for some of the girls there. To see that the first day they get there, it was really traumatizing for them. And for me, I was just like, you know, I know that not everyone here can handle this kind of like exercise and activities, so I wasn't like completely shocked by it, but I felt really bad for her in her state. It was really scary. So That's one thing that happened. I will say, like, hydrate, you know, they'll definitely make you hydrate, but hydrate, because if you don't hydrate, bad things will happen. Like, you will faint. You may have a seizure. Who knows, really. So once we were there, we had a week. This was all COVID. So, like, we had a week of, by the way, I shipped out August 23rd, 2021. So this was last year. The first day you're there, you're like, the first week you're there, it's a little bit interesting. It's like they're not, so backtracking a little bit. We went in and everybody just put their stuff down, went to their lockers, like we got assigned lockers, and we just stood there until they told us what to do. I was thankful because the minute I got there, I knew our drill sergeants, the female ones, were not that bad. Like, I could tell they were all like good people. Like, I just had a really good feeling about them, which I was right. But anyways, so then, by the way, my AC is like really loud. So then we basically were just standing there, and then we got an opportunity to call people to say like, hey, I arrived, I'm good. No one on my end answered. I just texted my brother. And then after that, we got to unpacking. I think organization is really key the first week or two that you're there, because they're going to be checking everything. So just organize your stuff in little bags so you know where exactly everything is. So we just did that. And then, I mean, the first week at boot camp was actually not that bad. Like, we weren't really in red phase, so they were going pretty easy on us. And then trying to think. And then from there, I remember we had, like, you know, the first week was chill. We learned a lot about, like, what to expect. Starting to learn about the Army, things like that. And then I got to red phase. Red phase was interesting in the sense that there was a lot of smoking, but less than I thought it was. I was in Delta Company in Fort Jackson, so there was smoking, but there wasn't a lot of smoking. And, you know, everyone was kind of lost at the beginning. No one was really sure what they were doing. And I think the most important thing about red phase is just learning everything. And also, I feel like that's where a lot of people started to either hate it, or like, that's when people started to realize whether the Army was for them or not, was red phase. And I will say, you know, the events that we do, I mean, it's a hard phase. It's a hard phase because you do a lot. You do a lot of stuff. And, you know, I remember we went on the rope, climbed the rope and everything like that. And there was a lot of drama too. There's a lot of drama. Drama is like a whole nother conversation, honestly. But the gas chamber wasn't that bad, actually. So the gas chamber, it was a little scary because you're afraid that if you do it wrong, you're just gonna, like, you know, you're gonna get burned. And you are, if you do it wrong. So pay attention. This one girl, she was so funny. I wasn't there, but I heard that this one girl just freaked the fuck out. She was in there, and the drill sergeant was like screaming at her to like do the thing right, and she was not doing it right. She was not doing it right, and she was freaking the fuck out. Whole blown panic attack in the gas chamber, like punching the drill sergeant, like she was having a whole thing. I wish I was there. She was screaming. Like, we could hear her from outside, being outside. We could hear her screaming. And, I mean, there were some people that, you know, just couldn't handle it. Like, there's this one girl who would, no matter where you, like, every time you looked at her, she was asleep. Like, she would be like literally someone could be having like a lesson, like teaching you something, and you look over at her and she's like just asleep. And that stuff will get you in trouble, because in red phase, if someone, it doesn't matter if you didn't F up, if someone else F'd up, you F'd up. Everyone gets in trouble. And I feel like towards the end of red phase, they kind of let go of that a little bit, you know, like, because we got the point. But the first or 2 weeks of red phase is brutal. Everyone gets messed up. We used to run laps around the track, and honestly, that's not bad compared to what I hear about other companies. We used to run like 2 laps, and we had to do it within a certain amount of time, or else we get smoked again and again. But honestly, our smokings were not that bad, and they were far and few between. So, oh my god, he's being such a ham right now. Why is he being such a ham? Why are you such a ham, huh? Why are you such a ham? Trying to think of more stuff. So I made a really good friend during basic training, and red phase, because we were bunk mates, so our bunks were next to each other, and we would always like just make fun of people. Like, we definitely did not take boot camp seriously, and I feel like me and her were the only two. Sometimes it really felt like me and her and like maybe one other person were the only people who didn't take boot camp seriously. Like, we knew what we had to do. We followed directions. We did everything, but it's not like we thought of it as like, oh my gosh, you know? We knew that we were learning, and we're not going to be perfect in this environment, because this isn't a normal environment. And I think a lot of people forgot that as the time went on. But anyways, me and my friend, we just, as the time went on, through red face, me and her grew closer and closer. And it just was a whole game the whole time. But I will say, I thought wrecking would be hard, but it's actually pretty, the first one you do in red face is not bad at all. And the key is also make sure you're hydrating. Make sure you're taking care of your boots. I got really lucky because my boots, they didn't blister me at all. I don't know what the deal was, but they didn't blister me at all. And typically when we went on our rucks, we would typically go in the morning or at night. No, I think I got that wrong. We would typically go in the morning, really early in the morning. And then chow was always good. Chow was interesting because you had to follow like all these rules during chow. And like, it was so weird because Delta company is so chill compared to other companies. So sometimes we would be around other companies in chow, and the other people, how the other trainees were being treated by drill sergeants was just ridiculous. Like, they were like screaming at them, yelling at them, and like our drill sergeants were over there like, okay, we're doing what we're supposed to do, like the crazy things they asked us to do. And they're not yelling at us. I mean, yeah, they'll yell at us if we mess up, but the other drill sergeants are just constantly yelling. And oh yeah, learn your about face. You really need to learn your about face with the Army. That's like a huge thing. They tested us every time during chow. And then our first sergeant sometimes would be at chow, and like our first sergeant was just like crazy. He's like this really tall Slenderman type figure, and he would just pop out of nowhere, and like you have to call at ease. And I don't know, it was kind of a funny environment. But yeah, so that's a little bit about red face. So red face was like a lot of activity, right? A lot of things going on. You have to take tests. You have to go do all these events. I'm trying to think. You have to do an obstacle course where I will never forget this obstacle course. You have to like run. They say go, and then you have to, everyone runs, and it's literally, it's like an accident waiting to happen because you're in the middle of the woods and you're all running at the same time. Someone's bound to get hurt. And then the obstacle course started and everyone's going crazy because it's a competition. Actually, my group won. So we won that. It was actually really fun. But yeah. They also, like, the chow is like, they make you eat a lot. Chow is a lot. And then MREs are not good. MREs are really not good. And the porta potties are terrible. If anything, like, just make sure you have wipes with you because it's just nasty. Just nasty. I think the thing that I hated the most is that I constantly saw the drill sergeants with coffee in their hand, and I was so jealous because I'm like, what the heck, you know? I want coffee. And then Redface is really just trying to figure out the routine, you know? You wake up in the morning, you always have something to do. So you wake up in the morning, you do stuff, and then you go to chow. Well, you do PT. Then you go to chow. Then you go do whatever you're gonna do, you know, whether it's a lesson and learning or an event or some other thing you have to do. So you always go and you do something, essentially. And then after that, you come back. There is some sitting around sometimes. Some personal times in between. My friend would just sleep every time. And so yeah, so yeah, so you figure out the routine, and the routine is really actually really good. So I mean, it's basically like you wake up, you do PT, you eat, you go do something, then you eat lunch, then you go do something else, or you sit around, and then you eat dinner, and then after dinner you either go back, you usually go back to your bay to like hang out or like do whatever, and then you go back downstairs to the meeting area and you discuss things and sit around again, and then they dismiss you, and then you go upstairs, take a shower, do whatever. Our showers were interesting because everyone is a communal shower, so everyone could see each other butt naked. So it was interesting. Are you gonna sit here and watch?
Oh, no.
No? No?
No, I want to be a distraction.